let us take up the next speaker, Sri Deepak MRG. He is going to review, he is going to present a review of Sri Anand Neelakantan ji's book, Many Ramayanas, Many Lessons. A Missed Opportunity is the title by Sri Deepak MR. He is an author and trainer. He came forward when we announced an opportunity to review books. He came forward and selected this book, and he studied the book and reviewed it. He is giving both the positive and negative aspects, critical remarks about Anand Neelakantan's book. Over to you, Deepak.
Namaste, everybody. So first of all, my sincere thanks to Indica and Dr. Nagaraj Garu for selecting me and giving me a chance to present here. So let me start off with the title slide. So as Nagaraj Garu said, the title of my book review is A Missed Opportunity. So why I have used this particular name, we will come to know as we go along with the presentation. So very quickly, before I start off, just a quick introduction about me. So my name is Deepak. So as Nagaraj Garu said, I'm an author. So I have 25 years plus experience in various fields like education, training, consulting. I've worked at a private university before. So earlier, my writing used to be on the technical side, textbooks, research papers, and so on. So in the last 4 years, I have been able to write 10 books. And my sincere thanks to Indica, who gave me the first opportunity, and to very senior Indica member, Srimati Sai Swarupa Iyer, who helped me become an author. So since then, I've authored 10 published books. So I've also been part of various shows and written articles, including a YouTube series on Mahabharata myths with our friend Pranshu Saxena. So this is an overview of my books, the 10 books that I've done. So as you can see, except for one biography, the rest are all in the Puranic fiction, or what the publishing industry likes to call as mythology. So one of the book, as you can see, is on Markandeya Ramayana. So this is a book that narrates sage Markandeya's rendition of the Ramayana as found in the Mahabharata, in the Ramopakyana. So this is about me very quickly. So now, without wasting time, let me get into the book. So to start off, so let me quote the verse which Lord Brahma tells Valmiki, that you write the Ramayana and it will remain forever. It will remain eternal as long as there are rivers and mountains on this earth. So the Ramayana is our eternal epic of our Sanatana eternal Dharma. And it is so popular that there are more than 300 versions across the world. So already from the morning, Pranshuji was talking about versions in the Southeast Asia. So there are multiple versions which explains the popularity of our epic Ramayana. Now, there have been many books that have explored the different versions of the Ramayana, what they contain, how they differ from Valmiki's Ramayana. But most of these works have been in the academic space. They're academic book, research books. So we needed a popular book written by a popular author so that we can reach out to the lay reader, or especially young people who may not take up academic books to read. So this book by Anand Neelakantan has filled this gap. It has addressed this need because it is a book which is meant for the young reader so that they can learn more about Ramayana. So this is the book that I'm talking about. So once again, sincere thanks to Indica for sending this book across and giving me a chance to review it. So about this book, the author is Sri Anand Neelakantan. He's a very successful author in this particular genre of books. He has many successful books like Ajaya, Asura, Valmiki's Women, and other such books. He's also a screenwriter. He has written the screenplay for very popular TV shows like Siya Ke Ram, Mahabharat, and other such shows. So the objective of this book, as the author says, is he has heard the Ramayana from his father, which was the oral retelling. So as we know, the Ramayana has come to us through word of mouth. So over the centuries, bards have sung this song, and as they sang this song, they added something of their own. So they passed it on to a next generation. So in this way, it has come through. And later on, many of them have come out in the written format. So there have been many folk tales about Ramayana. So the author says that he has written this book based on the folk tales that his father has told him. So keeping that in mind, he wanted to make a presentation of this of the Ramayana's versions to the reading community. So now I have reviewed this book and I have categorized this review into three sections. Section one is the positives of the book that are praiseworthy. Section two are some concern areas in the book, and section three are the negatives of the book. So let me start off with the positives, the things which are good in the book. So as I said, this gives an account of different versions of the Ramayana. So the author has a very detailed bibliography. He also lists out so many versions of the Ramayana, and there are footnotes across the book wherein the author makes a reference to which Ramayana he has referred and what is the story. The main highlight of this particular book, Many Ramayana, Many Lessons, is its linear structure of narration. So the author starts from the beginning and goes till the end through a chronological order. And what he does, he narrates the story of Ramayana and tries to blend in different versions together. So it's not an easy task because there are so many versions. And if you try to bring in some other version, it can lead to confusion. But the author has done a very good job by trying to integrate different versions. So he has boxed texts in the book wherein he highlights different versions and what they say. And most importantly, lessons are mentioned in many of the chapters. They are a part of the narration wherein the author gives his interpretation of the lesson. So let me illustrate it from the book. So these are some screenshots from the book. So this, as you can see, is the contents. So he starts from Valmiki's story wherein he refers to a tale wherein it says that Valmiki was originally Ratnakara. So how this started off, how the poet met the poem, then Dasharatha's booms, the birth of Rama, Rama's training, Rama going with Vishwamitra, then redeeming of Ahalya's curse, Sita's story, the Swayambara, exile, Dasharatha's death, Shurpanaka's entry, the kidnapping of Sita, and all the remaining incidents, and the entry of Hanuman. So it continues with the killing of Bali, and finally Hanuman makes his quest, his journey to Lanka, and he comes back, and then the war starts, and the war is over. Sita's trial by fire, the Patabhisheka, and finally Valmiki's ashram where Lava and Kusha are brought up. So this is the sequence of narration, which you can see is the common and most popular sequence of narration. So as per these, all the chapters have been presented. Now, within the book, there are these kind of boxed texts which are highlighted. So wherein he points out certain versions of the Ramayana and what it says. I've just shared an example. While talking about the Rama-Sita marriage, he gives an example of the Kritivasa Ramayana, wherein he tells what that particular version says about the Ramayana. So in this way, the author is trying to present different versions of the epic. Then this is a book about many Ramayanas, many lessons. So what are the lessons the author has? There are quite a few. I've just highlighted a few of them just to share with all of you. So Dasharatha's boon to Kaikeyi, the author compares to a post-dated blank check. So he says that ego of a person can make him or her commit a very rash act. So that's the lesson we need to learn from Dasharatha rashly giving boon to Kaikeyi. Then Rama's killing of Tadaka, wherein he had a confusion that how can I kill a woman? So there he took a decision on what is good, what is right, based on the maximum good. So if I kill a woman, it may go against my personal values, but it is needed for the larger good. So that's a lesson which we can get. And Sri Neelakantanji makes a very interesting comparison of Rama and Sita is Prakriti, and their union is required for the world to move ahead. And he also says that Rama is never happy without Sita. I'm sorry, there's a mistake there. It should be Rama is never happy without Sita. As long as Sita is there, Rama is happy, he's content. Otherwise, he always has some disillusionment or he's upset. So he needs Sita, Rama and Sita have to complement each other. Then the golden deer episode, he says if you run behind something illusory, the result is going to be disaster. Then Lakshmana decides to leave Sita and go in search of Rama, violating Rama's instructions. And as we know, Ravana uses this opportunity to take away Sita. So he says this decision, Lakshmana, based on emotion rather than on reason. So he says this is a lesson that we need to learn, that when you take decisions based on emotions rather than on reason, then the results can go wrong. And the last lesson that I want to talk about here is about Hanuman, wherein he discovers his powers. So he says, the author says, most humans have some power or the other, but they don't know about them and they don't use them. But finally, when they get the chance to use them, they generally use it to help others. So the author is suggesting that we have innate powers and we should try and use it to help others, to help society. So in this way, the author has many lessons throughout the text. I just wanted to share a few of them here. So this is the first section wherein I talk about the positives of this particular book. Now, there are some concerns in the book that I would like to highlight. So there is a statement which the author says that the Ramayana is still evolving today. So this, in my view, is a issue of concern. The Ramayana is not evolving. It is Valmiki's epic that has been told many centuries ago. And subsequently, there are others who have come out with versions based on the Ramayana. So to say that the Ramayana is still evolving even today and people are writing versions is a bit difficult to digest. So as Nagaraj Garu was saying in the morning, he was differentiating between traditional retelling and modern retelling. So the different versions of the Ramayana which we accept are those that have been traditionally retold. So modern retelling, it's very difficult to equate it with the traditional retelling. So a statement that the Ramayana is still evolving is a bit difficult to accept. And the author gives his examples. He says that I have written this book, I have written that book. So if he writes a book or if I write a book, it does not become the Ramayana. It is a book that I have written, a novel that I have written, which retells a part of the Ramayana. It is not the Ramayana. If you are writing a version of the Ramayana, you have to study the original. And then you have to come out with your own version based on the original, not just on few elements, but after on the entire book. So writing a fiction novel cannot be compared to the Ramayana's version. And the author takes this step ahead and makes a statement of even more worrying concern. He says, if you are not happy with the Ramayana you read, you write your own Ramayana. He says, you create your own Ramayana, write whatever you want. So he says the epic is happening every day before us. So it's not the epic that is happening, it is the kind of lessons that the epic has told us. If we do not follow those lessons, then history repeats itself. So to say that the Ramayana is happening today, so you also write whatever you want, so that is difficult to accept. This definitely is not a version of the Ramayana. So anyone can write, yes, authors have the freedom to write whatever they want. So we live in a democracy, so we can do what we want, but it's very difficult to say that you write whatever you want. So this is a serious issue of concern. Then another issue that I want to highlight is, he says there is no one Valmiki Ramayana. So he says Valmiki Ramayana, we don't have the text. There are many Valmiki Ramayanas. So by this statement, the author is trying to equate Valmiki Ramayana with other versions. So he's trying to say that all Ramayanas are the same, which is not the case. The Valmiki Ramayana is the Moola Ramayana. It is the Adi Kavya, the original, the first poet's first poem. And it was a, order from Brahma which he complied with to write this Ramayana. So to say that the versions which came after are the same as Valmiki, it is a bit difficult to accept. And another issue of concern is, see, when you say there are multiple Ramayanas, that's true. So even in the Mahabharata, so we hear that there are multiple Mahabharata, Southern Recension, Kumbakonam edition, and then we have versions in the Northeast. Sorry, in the South East Asia, there are so many versions. So which is the original Mahabharata of Vyasa? So as we all know, there is something called as a critical edition made by Bhandarkar Oriental Research Institute. In the same way, the Oriental Institute of Baroda have done a critical edition. And this is 4 years of research wherein they have studied 2000 manuscripts. So based on this, they have created the critical edition, and this has been translated into English by Dr. Bibek Debroy. Padma Bhushana, the late Dr. Debroy, who we Indic authors consider as the gold standard, whatever he writes. So it is very surprising that this book, the critical edition, as well as Dr. Debroy's book, is completely missed out in the list of references. It is not at all referred to by the author. And another major concern is the author has references. He says that in the Ramayana, these things happen. And then he says that in this version, this happened. So he does that in some places. But in some other places, he does not give references to multiple versions. So he just goes ahead with the narration, leaving the reader confused as to which version he's talking about. So that causes serious problems, which I will demonstrate a little bit later. So I've spoken about the positives of the book and the concerns. Now the negatives, which are unfortunately quite a few. Now the first one is that the Ramayana is never about good and evil. It is about characters, their actions, the karma and the karma phala. So he negates it and he says that this good and evil concept came because of the bhakti movement. Then the author has a bias, which I have observed by reading other books of the author. So that is the reason when I saw this message from Hariji saying that these are the books available for review. And when I saw this book, I was very eager to read it because I wanted to know whether the author has done justice to the different versions or whether he carries his bias forward. So it's very unfortunate that the author has bias against some characters like Krishna, and he generally favors negative characters, whether it is Krishna or whether it is Duryodhana in the Mahabharata. And like I said, there are no references. And the biggest point is that there are lessons in the Ramayana, but these lessons are not presented in a structured way in this book. And most importantly, there are very few. There are not many lessons. Ideally, every chapter should have ended with some lessons. And at the end of the big book, he could have summarized those lessons. Because today's generation, they don't have the patience to read a very big book. So they want everything quick. So in such a situation, it would have been good if the author had, highlighted all these lessons so that if young people are reading, so they can immediately catch these lessons. So this is the major miss out, considering the fact that this book is called as Many Ramayanas, Many Lessons. So I have made some very sweeping statements. So I want to justify these statements. So I want to show extracts from the book to justify it. So in the introduction, the author says, the Ramayana was never considered a story of good versus evil. And this good versus evil came about only in the Bhakti era. So basically, the author is saying that there are different characters. All these characters are on the same footing, whether it's Rama, whether it's Ravana. Now, it is unfortunate that Ravana committed some dushkarma, we can say, and for that, the karma pala was death, which he got. So he tries to justify characters and say that instead of villain, he says they are pratinayakas, anti-heroes. They are not villains. So this is a really worrying statement because the very basis of our epics is Bhumi Bharaharana. The concept of our epics is that the burden on Mother Earth was very heavy due to evil. So Mother Earth goes in the form of a cow to Brahma and says, relieve me. And then Brahma says, let's go to the Lord Vishnu. And then Vishnu comes to take birth on earth. He takes the avatar, whether as Narsimha, whether as Parshurama, whether as Rama, whether as Krishna, or whether in the future as Kalki. The objective is good versus evil, to help the good and to destroy the evil. And the Ramayana has this. So there is a reference, very clearly it is there. So it says that the gods go to Vishnu and they tell him, they explain Ravana's evil deeds. So it is not that, Ravana was a good man who did some mistakes. He was evil from the beginning, and the gods go to Brahma and tell him, narrate him that this is what he has done. And they tell Vishnu that he can be killed by a human, so please you take birth as a human. And then Vishnu says, on hearing that speech of God, the kind-hearted Vishnu chose Dasharatha. So he says that Dasharatha is performing the Putra Kameshti. So it is time for me to go. I will go and take birth as his son. So this is very clear. It is there in the Ramayana, but the author chooses to ignore it. And if we go to the Mahabharata, so this is of course something everyone knows. Sambhavami Yuge Yuge. So the Lord says, I will take birth again and again in every age. Why? Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya duskrutam. Sadhu, good, dushkrutam, evil, bad. So whether you call good, evil, some people they say, don't use the terms good and evil, use dharma and adharma. Okay, because even that is there. Abhyuttanam adharmasyam. Okay. So good, evil, dharma, adharma. So that is the very basic concept of our epics, of the Rama Avatara and Krishna Avatara. So to negate that, saying that it is not a story of good and evil, according to me, is a negative of this book. So many purists will definitely have objection to this of this author. So this is a bit concerning. So this I would like to point out. So as you can see, the author says that, talking about Krishna, he says, Krishna loves other men's wives. He is in love with Radha, who is someone else's wife. So those who have, as we know, first of all, the story of Radha is not there in the Ramayana, in the Mahabharata. And in the Bhagavad Purana also, it is not specifically mentioned. There is no specific mention of Radha and Krishna. So these have come through other stories. Now, to take some random folk tale and say that Krishna was in love with someone else's wife, it's a very worrying statement, a bit dangerous statement. So this is an issue, and this is the author unfortunate bias against Krishna, which is displayed in some of his other books, wherein he tries to portray that Krishna is a warmonger and Balarama is a pacifist. Now he further says that he makes a reference to the episode where Krishna takes away the clothes of the Gopikas. Now, in this book, he lists out 18 curses that Ravana obtained. And interestingly, while listing out these curses, he does not give any references. So everyone will assume that these 18 curses are there in Valmiki Ramayana. So now he says that Ravana, what he did, he took away the clothes of Brahmin women and he made them come out. Now, the author says the same thing was done by Krishna, but Ravana got cursed, Krishna didn't get cursed. So he ignores the fact that Krishna was a kid when he did it. And on top of that, the Gopikas loved him. It is not that he did it with strangers. So these are some biases which give a negative image of this particular book and the way it is presented. Now, the narration, like I said, there are many instances where the author does not give references. Now, here in this screen, which I have shared, the author is talking about the story of Shurpanaka. So, this narration, any reader who picks up this book will think this is the narration from Valmiki's story. So, he talks about Shurpanaka's son. So, as we know, the Valmiki Ramayana does not have any mention of this Jambu-Kumara. It comes in some other text. So anyone who reads this will think that, yes, this is the story of Valmiki Ramayana. But actually it is not. It is a mixture of different Ramayanas, which the author himself says in the beginning. But while making references, unfortunately, the author does not detail them. So as a result, there are many other such negatives that come up. Continuing with the Shurpanaka's story, the author makes a statement that Shurpanaka is more a victim than an aggressor. And he says we can conclude that Shurpanaka has right on her side. And he blames Rama and Lakshmana, saying that they came to the forest and took away everything she considered precious. Because the author quotes a folk tale which says that Lakshmana killed Shurpanaka's son. Then he says that Rama ordered that Shurpanaka be disfigured. And this portrays Shurpanaka as a victim, and a conclusion is drawn that God is not fair to women and the downtrodden. So this is again a very far-fetched logic to talk about. And the author even blames Sita for this. He says, Sita did not raise her voice in protest. Sita should have questioned her husband and her brother-in-law when Shurpanaka was disfigured, but Sita did not talk. So indirectly, the author is suggesting that this happened. Sita suffered because she did not stand up for Shurpanaka. So the point is, why should Sita stand up for Shurpanaka who tried to kill her? So this again is there in Valmiki Ramayana, but unfortunately the author just ignores this. The author ignores this and does not talk about it. So I want to quote from there. It's very clear. So Shurpanaka says that I want you, Rama, but I do not want the botheration of a co-wife. That means I don't want Sita. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to eat up this human female. So I'm going to eat her. So very clear, Shurpanaka's instance. So to say that she was a victim and not an aggressor is totally wrong. And then what happens? She doesn't say it. She puts it into action. She charges towards Sita. That's when Rama says she should be punished, cut off her ears and nose. Now this was a vile act, trying to eat up Rama's wife. So Rama could have ordered Lakshmana to kill her, but he didn't do that. He spared her life and sent her off. So this is very there. This is very clear. It is there in the author ignores this and makes a sweeping statement that Shurpanaka was a victim. Now, one more issue we have with Vali. So after Vali is killed, Vali asks, "Why did you kill me?" Asks Rama, "Why did you kill me?" And Sri Neelakantan ji says, Rama replies, "Because you are an animal. I killed you because you are an animal. And as an animal, you don't deserve to live." So that is the imputation. But is this true? Definitely it is not true. So if we go back to the text, so we will see very clear. He says, "You committed an adharma. Sugriva's wife, Ruma, was equivalent to your daughter-in-law. But you married her even though while Sugriva was alive. So you have committed incest. So therefore, I am killing you." And before this, there is one more shloka wherein he says that in this land of Bharata, in this land ruled by King Bharata, as a Kshatriya, I will punish those who commit adharma. So therefore, I am killing you because you committed a sin. So this again is very clear. All this is there in Valmiki's Ramayana, but the author tends to ignore all this and comes out with, takes some folk tales and tries to present that as the truth. So this is a major issue. Then we come to yet another problematic issue in this book, wherein the author wonders that why didn't Rama molest, why didn't Ravana molest Sita? So he says there must be a reason he does not touch Sita. So he makes a statement as though he doesn't know the reason and no one knows the reason. The reason is very clearly there in the Ramayana. If the author had cared to look, he would have found the reason. But the author ignores this and he comes to a conclusion that by quoting a folk tale that Sita was Ravana's daughter. So that's why he did not touch her. But the reality is different. So again, if we go back to the text, during the Yuddha Kanda, Mahaparshva, one of the commanders of Ravana, he comes to Ravana and says, "Take pleasure with Sita." He says, "Ramaswa, take pleasure with her." So he tells directly. And then what does Ravana do? He says, "I cannot do it." Why? Because there is a curse from Brahma. That's when he narrates the story. So I have only highlighted a few shlokas. So he narrates the story wherein he had molested Punjikasthala, Apsara, who went and complained to Brahma. And then Brahma summoned Ravana and gave him a curse, saying that if you try to do any violent act with any woman, then your head will break into 100 pieces. So there is a curse sitting on Ravana's head. And Ravana very clearly says, "This is the only reason, fearing the curse given in this manner, I am not touching Sita." And very clearly in this statement, he says he demonstrates his lust towards Sita. So to say that Ravana did not touch Sita, he was pure, and Sita, had a good time in Lanka. So this is all extremely difficult to accept. So these are some very major negatives that we see in this particular book. And then there is the story of the building of the bridge over Lanka and how it happened. So here again, the author shows something negative. So he narrates a story from some version of the Ramayana, which he does not clearly explain. So he says that the Vanara started building the bridge and they started laying stones, but naturally the stones started sinking in the ocean. So Rama got angry. Lord Rama imperiously commands Varuna. So he orders Varuna that you must make the bridge stand, but Varuna refuses. So then an angry Rama commands Varuna, and when he refuses, he tries to shoot an arrow at Varuna. So by this stating this particular folk tale or a story from another version, the author is trying to create an impression that Rama was arrogant Rama disrespected the gods. Rama wanted his views, wanted to impose his views on everyone. So you can see there is a picture emerging. So he shows Rama as being cruel towards animal, killing Vali just because he was an animal. He shows him as being violent towards a woman and just killing her. So all this image gets constructed due to the problems of not quoting references. There are hundreds of folk tales, different versions. They have different stories. You, as an author, should tell that this is the version. But by not doing so, the impression is created that this is the original Valmiki Ramayana, and a reader will take away the impression that yes, this is the. So when we look at the text, we see a different story. For 3 nights, Rama stays there and he worships the Lord of Rivers, Varuna. He worships Varuna, saying, "Please come help me cross the river." And when Varuna does not come, then Rama loses his cool, and he says that I have to take action. The ocean is not accepting my kind words. So now I have to take action. So what I will do, I am going to dry up the ocean. So let the monkeys cross. So there are some more stories. I didn't share the shlokas. So what happens is Varuna comes and he says, "You please go ahead and do it. I will ensure that the wild animals do not, the crocodiles and others do not attack your Sena. Let them cross the river." Then Rama says, "I have a vow. When I put an arrow to my bow, I will not take it back. What do I do with this arrow?" So then he points out to a direction called as Drumatulya, where the thieves like the Abhiras, they are the ones who habitate that place. So you release your arrow there. So he releases the arrow there. That particular place, all the water is dried up and it becomes Marubhumi. So the origin of the term Marubhumi probably came across from here. Now, the author also makes a sweeping statement wherein he says that this was a sin committed by Rama by threatening Varuna, and he had to endure the karma pala. So that happened in the next Janma when, as Krishna, Dwarka was swallowed by Varuna. So here again, you can see that some very far-reaching conclusions are taken based on some versions or some folk tales. So these are serious concerns because the author is claiming to be presenting the different versions of Ramayana, but does not specifically state which version he's talking about. So when that doesn't happen, readers will assume that this is the real version. So this is a serious negative in this particular book. And this is a concern that I observed when I reviewed this book. So while the structure of the book is good, no doubt, so this is the problem. So to conclude, so I want to sum up my review of this particular book. Now, every author has a freedom to retell stories. So as an author, I also have retold stories. So there are many of the in the Indic community, including Pranshu Saxena, who is here. So we all have retold stories, but while retelling, we have to keep in mind. I think in the morning, Dr. Kannan was talking about bhakti. So there must be a bhakti. So we must respect the core story of the Ramayana and not change it. But unfortunately, authors are doing that today. That's why we are saying glorification of negative characters like Duryodhana and Karna in the Mahabharata and Ravana in the Ramayana. If we go by the original text of the Ramayana, Ravana was a sinner. He was a cannibal. He tells Sita, "I'm going to eat you if you don't agree to marry me." So yet there is a system wherein they try to glorify him, saying that he was a Medhavi, a scholar. Then Lakshmana went to him to learn from him before he died. Ravana died immediately as per the narration of Valmiki Ramayana. And Lakshmana and Rama, they have learned from Vashishta and Vishwamitra. So what is there that Ravana can teach them that Vashishta and Vishwamitra cannot teach? So we have a similar story with Karna too, that Krishna goes to him in disguise and he takes his golden tooth and all those kind of things. So these are all created in the last couple of centuries, wherein there is an attempt to glorify negative characters. So there is an obsession with anti-hero. There is a feeling that yes, these are downtrodden people who were killed. So let's glorify them. And then there were many films that were made like this and TV shows. So the end result is this kind of glorification, which we see in this book. Now, my point as a reviewer is. An author has the freedom to write whatever he or she wants. No one can stop them. But this is not just a normal book. Okay, this is non-fiction. So very clearly, it is written that this book is non-fiction. So here it says non-fiction. So when you say non-fiction, then there are certain rules while writing non-fiction. It has to be based on research. It has to be based on facts. So unfortunately, by skipping versions, by introducing the bias, the impact is lost. And this book is about the lessons of the Ramayana. Now, as I said, there are some very nice lessons which have been listed out. A few of them I had shared, but these lessons are very listed out. They should have been presented in a better way so that the reader gets to appreciate the lessons, because the lessons of the Ramayana and Mahabharata are not just what happened 5,000 years back. These are lessons relevant even today. So it is important to highlight these lessons. So unfortunately, this has not done. Now, this book is a successful book, like all the books that Sri Neelakantan has written, because he's a bestseller author. Anything he writes becomes a blockbuster. So it's a successful book. But at what cost? The message of the original Ramayana is missed out. And the impact of the book is marred because of improper presentation and, most importantly, bias of the author. So that's why I have titled my review as a missed opportunity. The author has come out with a wonderful concept, wonderful structure, and the author is well known as a popular author and has the ability to capture the attention of readers. So the author could have made a very long lasting impact by creating an authentic book that offers valuable lessons for the future generations to come. Because I would like to keep stressing that we have to reach out to the younger generation, because our values, our culture should remain eternal forever. So if that has to happen, the younger generation should appreciate our values. They should appreciate the lessons of the story, of our epics. They should not just treat the epic as some story. They should understand its lesson and pass them on to future generations. So there was a great chance the author had to do that through this book, but unfortunately, it has failed due to these negatives. So that's why I conclude my review by saying that this is a missed opportunity by the author. So what can be done? The book is already successful. Thousands of people have read it, and they have taken away the wrong message. So as authors, I feel we must also write our book. So this is my appeal to Indica and Dr. Nagaraj Garu, that Indica has come out with many anthologies. So this is a golden opportunity to present yet another anthology. So based on the same concept which we are having this symposium, traditional retellings. So if possible, let's have a anthology of traditional retelling. Let 10, 20 different authors get together. Let them take stories from different versions of the Ramayana and present it in the right way with the right lessons. So by doing so, we will try and ensure that future generations get the right lessons from the epics. So with this, I would like to come to the end of my presentation. So once again, thank you so much for giving me a chance to review this book, and thank you for allowing me to present. So namaste, Jai Shri Ram.
Thank you. Thank you. That was really a very good review of the book, very well argued with all the evidences and quotes and all the arguments that you were making. Yes, we will take your suggestion to bring out another anthology also. We'll keep in touch with you. We need more contributions from you. Let us check if there are any questions. No, I don't see any questions.